Your man, Louie T. Welcome to Divisional Round Weekend here on the Louie T Network as we continue to cover all of the National Football League postseason coverage. Man, look, Packers, Rams, really valiant effort by the Los Angeles Rams in this football game as they fall short 32-18 to the Green Bay Packers. Second straight year the Green Bay Packers will be in the NFC Championship game. This time they will be hosting it as the number one seed. And I said it when the postseason started, I don't think anybody is better than Green Bay. I went with Seattle to go to the Super Bowl because that was my pick to start the season. I had Chiefs and I had Seahawks. But this is the team to beat in the NFC. And I knew the Rams were going to come out. They were going to be competitive. I talked about this on the podcast yesterday. I said they're going to hang tough. But at the end of the day, they don't have enough offensive firepower. They're not going to be able to get it done. They're not going to score enough points. And this game kind of went exactly the way that I thought it would, that they would hang in there. I thought it was going to be a low possession game. How many possessions did the Packers have in the first half? 3. How many did the Rams have? 4. I mean, I think it might have ended up being 4-4. The Packers took that last one with 29 seconds right down the field and got points out of that. But I told you it was going to be a low possession game early, and the run game was going to be pretty big. Well, the clock was going to keep running because both of these teams, remember, they're disciples of Shanahan. So, you know, the ground game is going to have a heavy influence, and it did. And off of that, what team could take advantage of some shots down the field with Goff and the thumb and no Cooper Kupp, which we didn't know going into the game. I thought Kupp was going to be able to go. I knew he injured himself at the end of the Seahawks game, but hadn't heard anything about it all week long. Didn't know it was that big of a deal. Turns out that he doesn't play. I think one of the more unsung guys that didn't play in this game that nobody's going to talk about that I thought really impacted this game was no left guard, David. Good gracious, I wanted to call him Andrews. David, can't think of his damn name out of Wisconsin. The damn tackle that they took a couple of years ago that they kicked inside the guard. Bobby Evans got his ass whooped today. And a lot of the pressure that Goff endured in this game was right off of Bobby Evans, the left guard. And so it was rough sledding. And had they had their normal left guard, maybe things don't go the way that they did in this game. You know, maybe you don't get terrorized by Kenny Clark. Maybe you don't make Rashawn Gary look like he was supposed to be a first-round pick. And you know, Rashawn Gary is actually playing really well this year, has really picked things up. But that said, I thought, you know, it's crazy. The Packers are going to say goodbye to Aaron Jones this offseason. I think it's a mistake. You can't pay everybody. We know that in this league. Aaron Jones is a stud, and I get it. That's why they drafted, A.J. Dillon, so that they could move on from Aaron Jones and not have to pay him big money. But this guy is dynamic. I told you, he's not an average back. He's not one of these run-of-the-mill, we'll get another one of these guys. A.J. Dillon can't do what Aaron Jones does. They're not the same back anyway. But they're not the same. And so 14 carries, 99 yards, the big run at the start of the second half to really set the tone for the second half. He can catch it out of the backfield. We all know what Aaron Jones provides and all the things that he does. If you're the Packers, I'll just say this because, I'll be talking in circles because I've said a lot of these things already. So, it doesn't bear mentioning over and over and over again. But at the end of the day, you better win the championship this year. You won't have a better opportunity than this season. I think the NFC will get a lot tougher. We thought the NFC was going to be really tough coming into the season. Turned out to be a dud. And you're the best of the conference. I think what it has to offer. This is the year. If you can't win it with Rodgers, we know the clock's ticking. You drafted Jordan Love this past year. And you're not going to have Aaron Jones back. And you got a lot of free agents. Alan Lazard, who was your leading receiver in this game, is one of them. Look, it's not going to be the same next year. And so I implore you to go and get it this year. It's there for the taking. Now, it's not going to be easy because whomever comes out of the AFC, Kansas City, is going to be really tough. But outside of Kansas City, I think you can take anybody hands down. Kansas City, you can beat them too. It just won't be easy. So this Packers team is the most complete team left in the NFC draw. Especially if the defense is going to play the way they played tonight. Now, we're going to talk about them here in a second. But I do want to establish the fact that offensively. It was, all the talk, and I was a part of this hype. Packers offense against Rams defense. Jalen Ramsey against Davante Adams. Well, we didn't even see that matchup a ton. And, the Packers do a tremendous job. And, I talk a lot of shit about, how can you allow Davante Adams to eat you up? But they do a great job of moving him around. And he never really lines up in the same spot. A lot of motion. We saw the motion on the first touchdown of the game where he comes across. That's impossible to cover man-to-man. You've got to switch that. That's why Jalen Ramsey was going nuts. That corner has to get out there. And we got to switch. There's no way I can cover that. Not with him coming a million miles per second and Rodgers not even grabbing the laces and getting rid of it. You've got to switch that. That's the only way you're going to cover that route in man-to-man coverage. And he doesn't, and it's a touchdown. And so they do a great job of moving him around. But this is what we asked for. We said, look, and I told you, if you're going to beat me, and the Rams said this, if you're going to beat me, it's going to have to be MVS. It's going to have to be Alan Lazard. It's going to have to be Robert Tonyan. It can't be Davante Adams. Well, it wasn't. Adams, 9 catches, 66 yards. And 1 touchdown. If you would have told me that's going to be a stat line before the game started, sign me up. Where do I sign if I'm the Rams? But, you can't have other guys going off, and you can't have the Packers rushing for over 200 yards. That can't happen. But when you don't have a healthy Aaron Donald, it changes everything. And look, they don't want to make any excuses. Sean McVay tried to talk about no limited snaps, no limitations. Aaron Donald was limited. Don't tell me Aaron Donald's not limited and you come out on the very first possession of the second half and he's not on the field. That's not a normal Aaron Donald rest possession. He doesn't come out into the second half and not play the opening possession of the game in the third quarter. Okay? That's not a normal Aaron Donald getting some rest. He rests during the game. They got a bunch of interior defensive tackles that are fully capable. Ashawn Robinson, Fox, Joseph Day. They got a bunch of dudes. So they can, Gaines. They got a whole bunch of guys that they can rotate in there. So it's not like he has to be in on every snap. But that's not one of the snaps he's out on, generally. That whole possession to start the second half, Aaron Donald is going to be on the field if he's healthy, and he wasn't. So that really hurt him. And we knew it was going to hurt them. We didn't know to what extent. And it honestly, yeah, Rodgers had plenty of time to throw the football, and they didn't get a ton of pressure on him. But where it really hurt him was in the run game, because they didn't stop the run well at all in this game. They really didn't. The Packers did a really good job of not really being in too many 3rd and longs. How many times did we see the Packers in 3rd and 9 tonight? 3rd and 7. Not many. Not many. Most of the time, it's 3rd and 3. It's if they even got to 3rd down. A lot of times, they were converting first downs on 2nd down because they got 5 on 1st down, and then Rodgers completes a pass for 7 on 2nd down. Or they got a 3-yard gain on 1st down. Rodgers throws it for a 4-yard gain on 2nd down. Now it's 3rd and 3, and they're converting that. Conversely, the Rams struggled on 3rd downs in this football game. I don't know if they even converted a single 3rd down. Let's check it out real quick. At one point, they hadn't. They were 2 of 8 in the game on 3rd downs. Meanwhile, the Packers, 8 of 12. Let me run that back for you because that's a hard number to comprehend. 8 of 12 on 3rd downs, but they were in 3rd and short all game long. And that's how you convert 75% of your 3rd downs. It's a huge number, but that's how good they were on the day. I mean, they were outstanding. Is that 75%? 8 of 12? I think that's 66%. Yeah, I think that's 2/3. Either way, that's a hell of a percentage right there if you're the Green Bay Packers. And they were exceptional today. And all you can do is tip your cap to them and say, job well done. They got it done. So it was a hell of a performance from the Packers offensively, but defensively was the thing that I was shocked by. Not because the Rams are some kind of offensive juggernaut, and Jared Goff, I'm going to talk about him in here in a second, but and not because the Rams we expected anything major from them, but They went out, they dominated the line of scrimmage, especially getting after Jared Goff when they needed to. They gave up some possessions, and Goff was pretty accurate, and pretty good from a percentage standpoint. I think he was 21 of 27 was Jared Goff. Like, he had opportunities, but it wasn't for a ton of yards. There weren't any big plays given up, no cheapies on the day. There was no Cam Akers 47-yard run or to speak of in this game. Nothing major. They made the Rams earn everything that they got in this game. And when they had to make plays, they did. And you got to give this Green Bay defense some credit too, because they were much maligned earlier in the season. And they've gotten healthy. They're starting to come alive at the right time of the season. And 18 points, we're gonna win. With Aaron Rodgers at quarterback, you just allow 18, you're going to win plenty of games. More than you lose, that's for damn sure. But no matter who they play in the next round, they're going to be much more offensively gifted than the team you saw today in the Rams. So you're going to have to, we're really going to see how good this Packers defense is next week, whether it's Tampa again or it's the Saints again. You've played both of those teams already this season. One went really well for you. The other one, not so well. So it'll be interesting to see just how the defense fares next week. But they got it done in this game. And Kenny Clark, 2.5 sacks. Rashawn Gary, I thought, was outstanding. You can always count on the Smith brothers, whether it's Zadarius, who's the more consistent of the two, or Preston. He had some big knockdowns in terms of batted balls in this football game. Preston Smith was active in this game as well. And I just thought it was a collective effort from the entire Packers defense, swarming to the football, being aggressive, not giving up any big plays, and getting to Jared Goff when they needed to. And as we talked about the third down conversion rate, 2 of 8. At one point, they were 0 of 6. At one point, they were, 0 of 6 on third downs. It was a hell of a performance by this Packers. At one point, they were 0 of 5 on third downs. Either way, big performance by this Rams or this Packers defense. And all of that combined moves you to the NFC Championship game, where you'll be hosting the winner of Tampa Bay and New Orleans. So I want to get to the Rams quickly. Let's see. Let me get to these super chats real quick, and then my man, the Q-Bone, hell of a season. Thank you for the super chat, Q-Bone. Greatly appreciate you. My man Q-Bone writes, I need Ovaltine. I bet you do. I bet you do. But you know what? It's a hell of a season, and let's just admit that you got way more than you bargained for. You didn't think you would even be at this point this year, and so it's a hell of a season in which you didn't expect much from your football team. And I told you, never discount a Sean McVay coached ball club. They gave it everything they had today. It just wasn't enough because the team that they were playing against was just superior, and they were healthier. Let's call a spade a spade. The Packers are much healthier than that of the Rams right now. The Rams were missing some big parts. Talked about their guard situation. No Cooper Kupp. That's their best receiver. I love Robert Woods as well. I think they're kind of equal to each other, but Cooper Kupp wasn't available for this football game. That hurts you. And, of course, Jared Goff came into the game banged up. But that said, and Aaron Donald, obviously, the elephant in the room was Aaron Donald defensively and what you would get out of him, and the answer was not much. And so, hey, Q-Bone, hell of a season. Enjoy that Ovaltine. Key himself, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My man Key himself writes, Washington football team needs to trade for Jordan Love. Green Bay good at quarterback for now. They're not giving up Jordan Love. They drafted him. Don't forget that Aaron Rodgers is 37. Doesn't look like he's 37, right? How about that pump fake, getting Gumby into the air and then using that patented Aaron Rodgers gallop to get to the pylon and extend the football for the touchdown. He still got it even at 37 years old. But they drafted Jordan Love for a reason. Aaron Rodgers is still on borrowed time in Green Bay, which is why they need to win, which is why it is more imperative than ever that they win the Super Bowl this year, because Um, at some point, Jordan Love's going to see the field. And so, Aaron Rodgers is my favorite quarterback of this generation. And I'd hate to see him go out with just one chip. A minimum of two. If Eli Manning can win two, you got to be able to win two. And I don't want him in the same breath with Drew Brees, and some of these other guys that won one. Trent Dilfer won one. I need Aaron Rodgers to win another Super Bowl. And if it comes this year, great. If it doesn't, so be it. But at some point before his career is done, I need Aaron Rodgers to win another chip. And I think this is as good as a chance as he's going to get the remainder of his career. So we'll see what happens. But they're not trading Jordan Love at all. This is why they drafted him. They know what's up. They know that the clock's ticking on Aaron Rodgers, even though it may not appear that way when you watch him in games like tonight. But let's just talk about the Rams quickly. I thought it was a valiant effort by the Rams. They were shorthanded. I thought that, I thought this could come back to haunt them. They lost the game by 14. I had them losing by 11. So it's not, I wasn't that far off. I said the score was going to be 27-16. It was 32-18. So I wasn't too far off score-wise. The Packers shouldn't have gotten the 3 points before the half. I thought that was big at the time. And Daryl Johnson thought it was as well. We didn't know how the game was going to turn out. But, at the time it's 16-10, 29 seconds left. You're thinking, okay, this is probably going to be the score at halftime. But, it's funny. We were watching, I forgot what game we were watching. I want to say it was a Washington game last week. And I think the Buccaneers elected to take a knee to go to half with 20-something seconds, maybe 21 seconds or something. Washington ended up getting a field goal. I thought, Washington didn't get a field goal. It was 18-7 at the half. And I don't remember. It might have been Washington that took a knee. Whatever the case may be. It might have been the Eagles the week before. I was saying, man, I held my breath because 29 seconds, 27, 24 seconds, 21 seconds even. With timeouts left, that's an eternity in the NFL now. Especially with the way these quarterbacks are able to maneuver their teams down the field and get chunk plays, because generally you get soft coverage in those types of situations. You just don't want to give up anything deep, so you're willing to give up, 24 yards over the middle of the field, which is stupid because with timeouts left, you're not doing anything. They'll take 24 yards over the middle of the field, eat up 8 seconds of the clock, and burn a timeout with 13 seconds left, and now all they need is 11 yards to get into, some kind of field goal range, and they still got another timeout left. And same thing with the Rams. Why are you jumping an out route and it's 29 seconds left if you're the corner over there? And I want to say it was either Darius Williams or it was Troy Hill. I don't remember which one of those corners it was, but I'm like, how where's your football IQ? Why are you jumping a double move with 29 seconds left? If he wants a 5-yard speed cut, let him have it. Let him have it and go out of bounds. Who gives a shit? It's 5 yards. He just ate up 3 seconds off the clock. Whoop-de-doo. But what you don't want to do is bite on the 5-yard speed cut so he can get up the sideline on a double move and get you for 30, which is what happened. What are you doing? And luckily that was a bad ball from Rodgers, or it could have been even more yardage and out of bounds. So just poor discipline there, but even still, you had two cracks at getting a pick to stop them from getting any opportunity at a field goal, and you failed to do that. So I thought that was hurtful at the time, but it ultimately didn't really factor into the outcome of this game. But, offensively, even though they only scored 18, I thought Jared Goff's performance was gutsy. I thought that Cam Akers was really solid. I thought that, for the most part, look, there were 2 3-and-outs in that first half, but there also were 2 scoring drives. You would love to have gotten a touchdown on that first scoring drive, but you had to settle for a field goal. Whatever the case may be, you hate the false start when you're going for it. Who knows if you would have gotten it or not, but would love to have seen you try. And so I thought, for all of the things that they had against them, a banged-up quarterback, no left guard, and no Cooper Kupp, I thought they went out, and I thought Reynolds had a strong game. I thought they showed well offensively. considering the circumstances. Where they got let down was this defense. It's funny. The top defenses this year in football, whether you're talking this Rams defense or you're talking the Colts defense or you're talking Washington's defense, even the Bears to a lesser degree, on all those good defenses that we talked about, they didn't show up in the playoffs for whatever reason. And, they 18 shouldn't be enough to beat Aaron Rodgers. It's not going to be. I don't care how good your defense is. Generally, you need to score at least 20 to beat any team in the NFL, really, especially one quarterbacked by Aaron Rodgers. That said, they didn't give the offense really a chance in this game with the way that they played defense for much of the game. And it's not just the points given up. It's also about time of possession and allowing the Packers to shorten the game and possess the football the way that they did. And you didn't give yourself enough of a chance. 8 of 12 on third downs means they're continuing to churn the clock. They're continuing to eat up possessions so that the Rams offensively don't have a chance. I mean, this was a fast game. Remember, this is a 4:35 game. This game was over at 7:20 something. So it wasn't even 3 hours long. Why? Because the Packers continued to move the ball, convert third downs, and possess the football. Time of possession. Let me look at that real quick. 36-12 for the Packers to 23-48 for the Rams. Some of that is on the Rams offense. I'm not going to sit here and act like that's all the Packers offensive, efficiency and their ability to possess the ball. Some of that is on the Rams offense, going 3 and out, not being able to sustain offense themselves. But also a lot of that goes on the lap of this Rams defense. And again, no Aaron Donald, or at least a compromised Aaron Donald. That's tough to stomach. I get it. And it's a huge part of your defense. But I thought that the defense didn't do enough to give them a chance to win. They needed at least one turnover of Rodgers in this game somewhere. They didn't get it. They had an opportunity. They didn't get it. They needed at least one turnover somewhere. They couldn't get it. Valiant effort, though. I thought they were game. I thought that they had a good game plan. I just didn't think they executed as well as they would have liked to. David Edwards is the name of that guard out of Wisconsin. Sorely missed tonight. I thought Bobby Evans struggled at left guard. I really thought Evans had a tough time. They ran a lot of stunts his way. He did not do a good job of picking up those stunts, of passing that guy off to the outside and then looping back around that looping defender. I didn't think he did a good job of picking that guy up at all. They ran that thing 17 times, and he struggled with it on the day. Cody Larson says, let's go back to the NFC Championship game, back-to-back NFC Championship game appearances. He says, indeed it is. And I think this time you've got a legitimate chance of winning the NFC Championship and representing the NFC Conference, the NFC in the Super Bowl, and representing the NF Conference. How about that? You know what's funny? People say NFC Conference. Well, actually, the C in NFC stands for conference. So you don't actually need to say conference again because it's already in there. But whatever. If you haven't already done so, I want to take this time to implore you to hit the subscribe button. Sub up to the Louie T Network for more great content. Turn on that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. And also, hit that like button if you haven't already done so. Hunt, you got one here from... And if you're new to the channel, welcome. If you want your comment read on the air, we got enough time. We're going to run through as many of these comments as we can. We got an 8:15 kick, so we got 15 minutes. Use the hashtag LouieTLive to have your comment read on the air. JP says, Donald was a ghost all game. I don't think he even made one tackle. He might have made a tackle. He may not have. He was compromised. The man played with a torn rib cartilage. Like, he had no business being out there. Like, football players are so badass. They really are, because we sit here and we just talk about it. Like, the man has a torn rib cartilage. You wouldn't even be able to breathe. You know, I wouldn't be able to move with a torn rib cartilage, yet this man is out there playing against 300-pound behemoths in the trenches trying to help his team win. Like, it's hard for me to criticize or be hypercritical of Aaron Donald when the man gave everything he had with a torn rib cartilage. Think about that for a second. If a basketball player or a baseball player had a torn rib cartilage, they would be out for 6 months. They'd be out for, at minimum, 3 months. Okay? This guy, torn rib cartilage, and a week later, he's playing in a game. So, hard for me to criticize Aaron Donald at all. Atlanta Fan 21 says, Goff played a good game. Like I said, I thought, I got to commend Jared Goff. I thought it was a gutsy performance last week when you could tell he was really compromised by the thumb. I thought it was a very gutsy performance again. Man was 9 of 10 at halftime with a touchdown toss and a QB rating of 137 at the halftime break. I thought he made all the throws. I thought he gave his team a chance. I thought Jared Goff performed well. I really did. He says, better not see no slander on him. Sadly, his defense didn't show up. Reminds me of a typical Falcons game. And that was the thing, was that, and I said that already, that I was disappointed in the Rams defense. You know, and I've really been disappointed because generally this time of the year, ferocious defenses outplay dynamic offenses. But it hasn't been the case this postseason. The Colts weren't good enough defensively to slow down the Bills enough to win. Washington's defense wasn't up to the challenge of slowing down Brady and that bunch. In this game, the Rams defensively, again, compromised Aaron Donald. It changes everything. But, you know, they still weren't up to the challenge of stopping this Packers rushing attack, which was really the thing that surprised me is how well they ran it. 188 rushing yards on 36 attempts equals out to 5.2 yards per carry for the Packers. I mean, that's just too many yards to give up. Aaron Rodgers doesn't need that kind of help from his run game as is. You let him get that kind of a run game, you're going to give up at least one deep ball. And there should have been 2. He missed MVS. And that's what you need when you're going to beat an Aaron Rodgers-led team. You're going to need Aaron to miss on a throw or have a guy like Allen Lazard drop one down the field. You're going to need some breaks. You got those breaks, and you still weren't able to take advantage of it in this game. The 20th Mike says, yo, Lou, just think, in order to get to the Super Bowl, now you have to get past all the old guys. It has now turned into a young versus the old in the Super Bowl. It's been that way for a while, though. I mean, I kept saying, when is the changing of the guard going to happen? I've been trying to run Roethlisberger and Breeze and Brady and all of these guys out of the league for the last, 6 years or so. I thought, okay, any minute now, it's going to turn over to Andrew Luck and Carson Wentz. And I thought that was going to be, look, it's amazing. 3 years ago, what we thought was going to be the new young quarterbacks to usher in the next generation of star quarterbacks in this league was Andrew Luck, it was Carson Wentz. It was all of those guys. You were thinking like, okay, the league's going to be in really good hands. Russell Wilson and all those guys. And now it's Wilson, it's Deshaun Watson, and, who else really? I don't really know because I liked what I saw out of Justin Herbert last year. I think Kyler Murray's legit, but we still got a lot more football to see from these guys before we anoint them, right? So, even though we're trying to push these guys out of the door, who's taking over? Who's taking over the mantle? I don't know. I don't know where the next 7 guys are, the next 7 young guys coming up. Maybe it is Herbert. Maybe it is Joe Burrow. Maybe it is Kyler Murray. Maybe it is, Wilson being the leader of that group, but he's 30. You know what I mean? But maybe he's the leader of the group. Watson, obviously, in that discussion. But there's not a lot of guys ready to take over the mantle. So it's hard to push these old guys out when the young boys aren't ready to take over yet. Rich says, good game, not much to talk about in this one. Went exactly the way the football gods wrote. But I'm scouting for fantasy next because I want to win the championship next year. And Cam Akers, oh my God. Cam Akers is legit. We knew he was going to be legit. That's why I said the Rams got a steal in the second round when they got him. And he's a perfect fit for that zone run blocking scheme. Azad Belial says, let's say it. He's a bad, bad man. Yes, he is. That being Aaron Rodgers, of course. And the offensive line dominated the Rams. I love it. And they took care of business up front. You know what? I meant to say this. To me, one of the most unsung heroes of this game is Billy Turner. And really, I thought that the signing of Billy Turner this past offseason was extraordinary for the Packers. It was an unsung, under the radar signing, but he's so versatile. Billy Turner can play. I venture to say that if he was pressed into action, he could play center too. But Billy Turner can play 4 out of the 5 offensive line positions. Maybe he could play all 5. How valuable is that to have a guy that can do the things that Billy Turner can do? It's invaluable is what it really is. Call a spade a spade. It's invaluable. This guy can play right guard, right tackle, left tackle. This guy went from playing guard for the Packers to then kicked outside to tackle. And anytime they have an injury, there was a little spell here where Rick Wagner went down. Billy Turner, get out there to right tackle. All right. Anything happens to David Bakhtiari, and it did, hey, we need you out there at left tackle now. And Billy Turner doesn't miss a beat. And so, hats off to goddamn Billy Turner, man. What a signing. And he stepped in, and I thought he was extraordinary. And he's not going to get a ton of credit. He deserves a ton of credit. Gregory Lightbody says, man, every good defense in the playoffs lost and got points put on them. Washington, Steelers, Rams, and that's essentially what I was saying. Is when you look at all the teams that were touted as elite defenses or upper echelon defenses heading into the postseason, all of them got points poured on their skulls at some point during the postseason and got 30, except for Indianapolis. They only gave up 27, but Washington gave up 31. The Steelers gave up 40, what was that, 47? Granted, I understand that the offense turned it over 5 times. One directly in the end zone for a touchdown. And another one set up a score right by the end zone. I'm aware. But they had chances. And this is I was talking to my dad, and I think I said it on the overtime show as well. Every turnover didn't need to be a touchdown. Like, just because you turned it over 3 times in the first quarter doesn't mean that the Browns should have had 28 points. But they did, because they scored a touchdown off of every one of those turnovers. That's when you need your defense to step up the most, and they didn't. Let's see. Got another comment here. This one is from Kyle Little. Kyle writes, this is why the Rams shouldn't have gotten rid of Brandon Cooks. They need a deep threat. Goff was good this game, but the wide receivers, they have none of them that are deep threats, which he needs. It's funny, my barber back home, which I need to cut in the worst way. I'm going to have to find a barber around here. Somebody's got to be able to cut hair around here, right? But, you know, King Coop, my guy, he's a Rams fan, and we were talking the last time I got a cut. And I said, he's like, we don't really have a number 1 wide receiver. I'm like, while that's true, you know, Cooper Kupp is the guy that everybody acknowledges is your best guy. But, you know, all of your guys are kind of similar in what they do. They're tough guys. They block in the running game. They do the dirty work over the middle of the football field. And if you fall asleep behind the wheel, they can stretch the football field vertically. But nobody's threatened by any of these Ram receivers' speed. Not Reynolds. Not Woods, not Goff, not even Van Jefferson, and Van can run a little bit too. But none of these guys are burners. That's the guy. That's what they're missing in this offense. And so I think that's something they need to address next offseason via free agency or the draft. They need to find a guy that can flat out run, and I think that'll do them some wonders for their offense. They just don't have a guy that threatens you vertically. Not to say that that's really what Sean McVay's trying to do anyway, but still. Atlanta fan 21. 20 seconds left in a half is a free touchdown against the Falcons. LOL. Look, my team in, I think it was 21 seconds, allowed Matthew Stafford to take the Lions and get them in the field goal range. So it's an eternity for certain quarterbacks. Not everybody. Not everybody's comfortable with their quarterback coming onto the field with 29 seconds and 2 timeouts from the 25 and allowing them to do anything. In a game that you're up 16-10, you're just thinking, we'll just go to halftime. But Aaron Rodgers is a different animal. We already know that. He's a bad, bad man. So they're going to allow him to do that. You know, and there are a handful of other guys that, with 29 seconds and 2 timeouts, they're trying to push the envelope. But for most teams, that's a knee. Let's take a couple knees and let's go to halftime. Kevin Orkak says, there is no defense left to stop us. We winning it all this year. If you are a Packers fan, I would say that you are correct, even though the Saints, if their defense is healthy, they're capable. And the Buccaneers, we saw what they did to the Packers the last time. Now, I still think that was an aberration. I don't think that would happen again if those two teams were to meet. And this one would be in Green Bay, not in Tampa. But we saw what happened the last time those two teams met. So there are no guarantees in the NFC, as I said from the jump. No team was dominant. But the closest to a dominant team in the NFC, the most well-rounded team, was the number one seed, and they were the number one seed for a reason, and that was the Green Bay Packers, especially with the defense playing. One of my biggest problems with them throughout the season was I don't trust their defense. Well, the defense is playing a lot better. They're healthy, and they're flying around, and I think that's the difference now is that you trust them defensively because we always trusted the offense. Now you trust them defensively, and now they're a problem. Ali Side says, felt bad for AD. Man was crying on the sidelines. On the positive side, Rashawn Gary looks pretty good out there. AD probably felt bad. He probably felt like he let his team down. And look, I got to say this because I've said it a million times. I'll say it again. AD's a head case. He's a good head case. One you want on your team. But that 15-yard penalty is a microcosm of who he's been his whole career. AD's been kicked out of games. Never, ever trust a man with two first names. He's been thrown out of games in his career. He's been prone to picking up personal foul penalties when he loses his cool, and he had no business losing his cool there. That was going to be 3rd and 9, one of the few times they're going to have the Packers in a 3rd and long situation, and he does something foolish like that. He's got to be able to keep his cool, and it's not like the guard had done anything egregious to him to make him snap. I could see if the guard had fell down on his ribs or kneed him in his ribs on purpose, knowing that he was banged up. None of that took place. And he was pissed off. And he grabbed his face mask. And I'm like, come on, dude, you got to be smarter than that. But he probably felt like he let his team down because, I mean, how many times are you going to get back here? They were one game away from the NFC Championship game. It's tough. JP says, not going to lie, Lou. I thought no Cooper Kupp hurt the Rams in the sense that he can make the big 3rd down plays when the Rams need them. It was a huge miss. You when you take a guy like Cooper Kupp out of the lineup, it's going to drastically change your offense. He does so many things for them, that goes under the radar. I mean, look at last week. The first big play of the game was to who? Cooper Kupp, where he takes the football away from the Seattle Seahawks defender. Like he's a big guy, and you can throw it up to him, and he can make a play for you, and he wasn't available, and that really hurt him. It really did. Got one more comment, and we'll get out of here. This one from Justin Montanez says, Saints have an elite defense, so we'll see tomorrow if they get 35 put on them or not. And the Saints defense can be elite when it wants to. I've seen times when they've been lights out, like against Tampa Bay in Tampa on a Sunday night. I've seen times when they've been less than stellar against this Packers team early in the season, or even against Philadelphia when they gave up over 100 yards rushing to Jalen Hurts and to running back Miles Sanders, over 200 yards rushing in that game. So I've seen elite from the Saints. I've seen less than elite, but when they're clicking, if Trey Hendrickson is healthy, and I think he's going to be back this week for the Bucs game, when they're clicking on all cylinders and you get good Marshawn, not bad Marshawn Lattimore, and all of these guys show up, yeah, they're a top-notch defense. And it'll be really interesting to see what happens tomorrow because, to me, either one of those teams are going to be a good matchup for Green Bay. So it should be really, really fun. Anyway, that's going to do it for me, your man Louie T. This next game is about to kick off. I'm 1-0 in divisional round weekend. I got Ravens in this next game, so we're going to see what happens. Should be a dandy. I think the Ravens are going to do something similar to what they did last week to Tennessee, shorten the game, tons of Lamar running the football. I don't think this Bills defense is ready to stop the run that's coming their way. I could see the Ravens racking up over 200 yards rushing and winning this football game, which is why I picked the Ravens. So big win for the Green Bay Packers, however, as they punched the first ticket to the championship weekend with a 32-18 win over the Los Angeles Rams. Good season for the Rams. They fall short here. Packers advance to their second NFC Championship game in a row. This time, it will be played at Lambeau. All roads to Tampa go through Green Bay and Lambeau Field. And I'm going to tell you right now, those 9,000 fans sounded like 99,000 fans. What a difference it makes when you put some butts in the seats. I'm just telling you. It sounded loud on third downs. They had trouble communicating. It's amazing what you don't know what you've missed until they bring it back. Because I was like, I don't really care that the fans weren't there this year. I didn't really miss it. Whatever. Football's football. I'm just focused on the action on the field. No, it changes things drastically. And it felt good to hear the fans, to see players having to communicate, have to go closer to the quarterback and then relay that message to the other receivers instead of the quarterback being able to just yell it out and everybody hear it. It made a huge difference. And if they have even more fans next week, it'll be an even bigger advantage. Big win, Packers. Advance to the NFC Championship game. We'll see who they will be waiting on tomorrow. But big game tonight. Bills, Ravens, go ahead and check that out. If you haven't already done so, one more time, sub up the channel, LouieTeeNetwork, turn on that notification bell, and also hit that like button. Only 35 likes, 100 and some odd of you out there. Please hit the like button on your way out. I'm your man, Louie T, signing off. Enjoy the nightcapper. We'll be back here to break it all down. Bills, Ravens, now. See you at the conclusion of that ball game. Have a good one.